Good afternoon. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive. It is Monday, July 24th, and this is our Westchester Weekly Update with issues that are affecting those of us who live in Westchester County. I'm happy to be here with you to give you an update on some key issues that are at hand as of today. I'll be joined in a few minutes by Deputy County Executive Ken Jenkins as we go through a series of activities that are happening at the county. And then each week we invite one of the local village or city mayors or one of the town supervisors or their designee to join us and talk about their municipality. There are 45 different municipalities in Westchester County. Today we're going to spotlight the village of Bronxville. And we have Mayor Mary Marvin, who's going to join us in a few seconds, and she'll talk about her fine community. The top news has just been released by the city of Yonkers that the incident that occurred a little over 24 hours ago, where an individual who was arrested and arraigned by the city of Yonkers for potential robbery escaped control through the Westchester correction officers that were tasked with taking him in. That was quite an unfortunate incident, but the good news is now that Yonkers Police Department, along with the task force from the FBI, have successfully captured Geraldo Rojas, who was the individual in question. He's been on the run since yesterday morning, and he is now once again in police control. We will have the opportunity to congratulate those individuals from the task force, and particularly from the Yonkers Police Force. Mayor Mike Spano and Yonkers Police Commissioner Chris Sapienza have just made this announcement within the hour, and we want to highlight how happy we are that this has come to the proper conclusion. Justice will be served. There'll be a judicial process to assess Mr. Rojas and the crimes that he's accused of, and fair opportunity will be made for him to proclaim his innocence. But he was arrested and he was considered a dangerous person, so he is in custody, and that is good news for those who are concerned. That crime is certainly something that we're focused on and trying to properly police and administer. Also, we continue to have good news that the Beeline bus system continues to be free. I want to keep reminding you of that through the remainder of July, all of the month of August, and the first 4 days of September, which are Labor Day weekend. You can get on a Beeline bus anywhere in the system and ride free of charge to any other endpoint in the system. Transfer, you can go to places like Glen Island and Playland or to shop anywhere on Central Avenue. Wherever the bus system goes, you can go free of charge. And we want you to reintroduce yourself to the Beeline bus system. It's a terrific system. It has the second largest number of riders in New York State after the New York City bus system. So we're happy to be able to continue to do that. So a reminder, Beeline buses are free as we go forward. Next up is the mayor of the village of Bronxville, Mary Marvin. I've had the good pleasure to work with her over a number of years during my tenure in the New York State Senate. When I represented the village of Bronxville, we worked together on a host of different issues. She's been a leader amongst municipal officials in speaking out on a host of different things, but she's managed her village very well. Bronxville is routinely cited as one of the best-run communities in the state, much less just in the county, and in no small amount to Mary's leadership and the team that she's put together at Village Hall. So without any other further ado, let me introduce Mayor Mary Marvin of the village of Bronxville. Madam Mayor, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, County Executive.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you, County Executive, for the sustained and productive partnership you have shown the village of Bronxville during your tenure. You have been exceedingly responsive to our issues, and it's an example of what good governance is all about. I can say the same about our county legislator, James Nolan, who represents us in a similar responsive and able fashion in the 15th District. Bronxville is a small village of 7,000 in just 1 square mile, one of the densest communities in Westchester County. I have had the privilege of serving what I think is the most engaged citizenry as mayor for 18 years. We are unique in that Bronxville has one of the highest concentrations of local independent businesses in the county, with some of the businesses having been with us for upwards of 50 years. I'm going to focus on this unique aspect as shopping locally is my passion, as it affects my village and all of my neighbors in the villages and towns in the county. So many of our small businesses took a paralyzing financial hit during COVID and are still saddled with a great deal of debt. They need your patronage now more than ever, as they truly are a needed thread in the fabric of every community. Most of our merchants are generous to a fault to our charities, look out for our children, know what we like to purchase and eat, and genuinely care about our families. On the financial front, it is a win-win for everyone, as every $10 million spent in a local business district creates 57 new jobs, while the same spending at Amazon creates 14 jobs. The money reinvested in a community by local purchasing is real. As a result of just $100 of local spending, 68%, or more than twice that of a big box store purchase, stays in the community. Fully 1/3 of all New York State's revenues, totaling over $150 billion annually, accrue from the collection of sales tax at the local level. The sales tax revenue from shopping locally is a major factor in the financial health of every Westchester community. Using Bronxville as an example, we receive over $1 million per year in sales tax revenue. If every one of my residents bought everything on Amazon last year, I would have had to raise property taxes by 12%. Yes, 12%, or drastically limit public services. If you shop on Amazon versus your local Main Street, the savings you theoretically reap come home to roost in the form of higher local taxes and a decrease in local services. A local purchase sends money directly to our schools, our government, and also sends the most important message that you are investing in the future of your home and a stronger, more resilient community, all of which adds to the quality of life here in Westchester. In addition, it has been conclusively proven that home values are directly related to the condition and vitality of one's local business district. A shuttered downtown decreases the value of all surrounding homes. The nexus between often our greatest personal asset, our homes, and local commerce is indisputable. By shopping locally, we truly are supporting our supporters. Our merchants contribute to the vitality of our communities in many important indirect ways. They buy parking permits, pay taxes, buy goods and food from their fellow merchants, and use the services of local professionals, including lawyers, accountants, computer consultants, and graphic designers, just to name a few. Small businesses also donate more than twice as much per sales dollar to local nonprofits, charitable events, and school teams compared to large companies. Nonprofits locally receive as much as 350% more money from local shops than from non-locally owned businesses. So when you have the church bazaar or the PTA fundraiser, you will notice that the prizes aren't from Amazon or Costco, but rather your local gift shop or restaurant. So support your supporters. As a corollary, even our environment is positively affected as people walk more when shopping locally, less gas is consumed, and the air quality is better versus buying items by the shipping delivery method, which adds 1 billion metric tons of CO2 per year to the environment, as well as the voluminous quantities of cartons and paper usage. Walking around our communities, making our daily purchases, has a positive correlation, all proven scientifically, to a community's lower incidence of diabetes and adult and childhood obesity. In addition, children allowed to walk to make purchases are offered an appropriate degree of independence and decision-making. As a champion of the buy local ethos, and it is my passion, I realize it is not possible to purchase everything you need locally. I just ask that you think local first. You will not only be getting a nice gift or a delicious meal, but helping your neighbor perhaps keep a job, supporting your local nonprofits, or simply making someone's day by smiling when the purchase is made. Shopping local, by all statistics, ends up being the best bargain on every level. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that, again, is Mayor Mary Marvin of the Village of Bronxville. And her message about shopping local is a very important one. I can attest personally, whether it's Underhill Crossing or Wild Ginger or Rosie's or all the other great restaurants in Bronxville, you should visit and you should shop and do that in all of the downtowns that we have in Westchester County. You'll find that every one of them is a special treat, and we very much appreciate her being with us today. Let me give you a quick update on where we are with the asylum seekers, the migrant report. We committed to giving you a weekly update. There's been no additional placements, locations, as we've had it over the past week. That number has been static now for a number of weeks. We've had about a 2-month period of time with our Yonkers placement, and within about a month now for the Ardsley and the White Plains placements. We have a total of 151 guest rooms between the 3 locations, and that totals 400 plus individuals, 408 to be specific, 276 adults, 132 children. None of the children are of school age. We have 90 rooms in Yonkers at the Ramada Inn location, renamed the Plaza Esperanza. We have the Ardsley Acres motor facility with 34 rooms, and the Central Courtyard in White Plains on Central Avenue between White Plains and Greenberg on the borderline, also with 27 rooms. We've had no incidents of reported criminal activity, no concerns about spread of disease. The things that we're watching, New York City has continued to provide the finances for overnight accommodations and food. And, of course, there's free buses for everybody in Westchester County, as there are for those who are here with us under this program. We will keep you posted, and hopefully the news will continue to be one that is steady. I'm going to invite Ken Jenkins, my Deputy County Executive, to join me. We had a very important meeting at Kingsland Point Park over the weekend on Saturday. And Kingsland Point Park, if you're not familiar with it, is on the water, on the Hudson River, where Sleepy Hollow meets the village of Tarrytown, both Village of Sleepy Hollow and the Village of Tarrytown. At that meeting, we had Sleepy Hollow Village Mayor Martin Rutner with us. Also was in attendance was Town Supervisor for the town of Mount Pleasant, Carl Fulgenzi. State Assemblywoman Mary Jane Shimsky joined us. And we also had some local officials, in fact, the full Sleepy Hollow Village Board. And the purpose of the meeting was to have a community input session on the future of Kingsland's Point Park. This is not unprecedented. We have done the same thing at Scout Field in the Mount Vernon Yonkers Bronxville corridor. We did a meeting like this at Hilltop Hanover in Yorktown. We did it at Mearstead in Bedford. And then we did it at Graham Elementary School in Mount Vernon before we did the Memorial Field project. In every one of those cases, what we're trying to accomplish is a dialogue between residents, the local government, in this case the village government, and the county about what they'd like to see in the improvements of the facility. Kingsland Point Park already has a noted lighthouse. It's one of the iconic figures in Westchester County that's undergoing a multiple $million renovation, and then also the reinforcement of a seawall just north of the lighthouse that's important in order to stabilize the bank and to provide a workable beach area in that portion of the Hudson River. And those projects are underway, but we discussed a lot of additional projects, things that would include the reestablishment of a pedestrian walkway bridge from Kingsland Point Park over to DeVries Park, which is a local village of Sleepy Hollow Park that sits on the other side of the Metro North tracks. We've talked about reconfiguring a fence, a 6-foot fence, which should be changed based on the citizen input that divides where people are, then the steep slope that leads out to the river. We've discussed trying to open up some area for swimming, which is under work and discussion right now, so that there can be some beach swimming there. There's no public pools in Sleepy Hollow. Our nearest county pool is over in White Plains, so nothing in that immediate corridor, and a host of other different suggestions that came out of that. We're hoping to work with the village, implement those changes and improvements. Also, not to change things that exist already. There was a dog park there. We love dogs, and we want to make sure that they enjoy it, and their owners enjoy it as well. And also to talk about some ingress and egress issues with the park. All of those things are unique to this particular park, but the concept behind having a community outreach meeting is not unique. This is part of the way we've operated. We've made major investments in all of our park facilities in the county, and you're well familiar with the long list that I constantly repeat now that goes back 5 years, from Sprain Ridge pools all the way to today. But it's important to know that it's not just done in a room with a couple of people on the inside. We reach out and we try to get some idea of what's happening outside. So Kingsland Point Park, that meeting this past Saturday, we thank our friends at Sleepy Hollow for hosting us, and a very positive response came out of that. There are many things going on in our parks. I always like to reserve that for Ken to cover, so we'll let him cover some of the upcoming events in our parks. Ken.
Thanks, George. And certainly we continue to have so many fun events that go on throughout of our park system. This is their time of year. It's their time to shine, and they do some tremendous jobs over the weekend at the 2 heritage festivals that we had, the Arab American Heritage Festival, which was in Macy Park, a county park in the village of Ardsley, and then also Italian Heritage Festival at Kensico Dam Plaza. So this week we have at Tibbetts Book Program the continuation in Yonkers of the continuation of the Park and Read program, which is from 11 in the morning to 11:45. It's a read-along program aimed at fostering a love for reading in our young children. It's interactive storytelling in English and Spanish. It's free admission, but the children must be accompanied by a guardian. We've already been in 3 different parks this week. Again, Tibbetts Brook Park in Yonkers from 11 a.m. to 11:45. That is today through Friday, the 28th of July. So this week, Thursday, the 27th, we're going to continue the Robeson Summer Concert Series at Kensico Dam Plaza. This week, we're going to have Ricky Nicks. That's a tribute band for Stevie Nicks and Fleetwood Mac. That's going to be 7 to 9. Obviously, it's weather permitting. Free parking and admission. Coolers are permitted. You got to bring your own blanket and your own lawn chair. So it's a BYOLC. So bring your own lawn chair for the 27th. Another great opportunity for the Robeson Summer Concert Series at Kensico Dam Plaza. On Friday night, the 28th, White Plains Hospital will have screening Under the Stars, again at Kensico Dam Plaza. This week, it's going to be the DC League of Super Pets. The movie begins at sundown. It's free admission and free admission and parking, but you got to, again, make sure to bring your own blankets, your lawn chairs, and there will be refreshments on sale around the park, but certainly you're free to bring some cooler things, but we don't have coolers permitted all of these times. Again, that's going to be White Plains Hospital screening Under the Stars. Again, DC League of Super Pets. Then on Saturday, we're going to have at the county's first official pickleball playing area in Yonkers at Tibbetts Brook Park. So on the 29th, we're going to have a pickleball tournament. It's going to be starting at 9 a.m. The registration for that is full, so there's not going to be additional teams that are going to participate, but come out and cheer some folks on. keep in mind making sure to stretch, because there's a whole new set of things that have happened because of pickleball that doesn't look as strenuous as it really is. So again, that pickleball tournament is going to start on July 29th. Again, one of those additional investments that County Executive Latimer was pointing out as we've gone through the different things, whether it's at Hilltop Hanover or anywhere else, but this past weekend at Kingsland Point Park, to get that community input. For those of you on the other side of the county at Wilson Woods Park in Mount Vernon, from noon to 4, Family Fun Day is going to be at Wilson Woods Wave Pool. That's going to be the 29th from noon to 4. So come on in and enjoy the Wilson Wave Pool. Participation in that, again, is free. You have a parking fee that applies. Westchester County residency is required. It also is weather permitting. Certainly, we had a great weekend, one of the first weekends we've had that has been sunny throughout the whole weekend. And again, we'll have our favorite DJ out there. There'll be some fun activities for the kids to get engaged and involved with. Again, one of those things that come from our nationally accredited award-winning park system. Finally, we're going to continue for Bicycle Sundays. This is going to be the last Bicycle Sunday. It's July 30th from 10 to 2. That'll be the last Bicycle Sunday until we pick up again in September, the weekend after Labor Day, because you remember Bicycle Sundays don't occur. That doesn't mean you can't travel on the wonderful Bronx River Reservation, but you'll be doing that on the side. So July 30th will be the final Bicycle Sunday before we take that pause and then pick up again. Because of the high heat and humidity that happens at this time of the year in August, we'll pick that back up right after the Labor Day holidays in September. You could ride, bike, jog, walk, or skate the parkway from the Bronx River Parkway from Scarsdale Road in Yonkers right up to Main Street in White Plains. Certainly we have some great participation from the vendors from the Parks Foundation and our new bicycle sponsor that's been there with us. Again, that's going to happen, but there's no Bicycle Sundays in August on the Bronx River Parkway, but certainly use the pathways. Again, this is your park system. Make sure to take advantage and keep looking, because things come up all the time in the park system. Back to you, George.
Thanks very much, Ken. We have a couple of other things we'll just mention, and they're somewhat related in the same area. This past Friday, we had a Freedom Concert to honor our veterans that was held at the Westchester County Center, the center which we reopened after its use during COVID back in February. As you may recall, we opened it up with the Section 1 basketball. We've had a number of events there, a big wrestling event and some other things. It's just getting back into the swing of things with the normal business. We still are dealing in a post-COVID world. But this past Friday, we had really an electrifying and unforgettable event. We had some prominent musical names from the past, and this was in honor of our veterans. We obviously had a crowd of people who have served their nation proudly, and we recognized them, and we also gave them music they can remember. Tony Orlando, who had a big hit with Tie Yellow Ribbon Around the Old Oak Tree. He's had some timeless hits and a great stage presence. All of these are very professional individuals. Bobby Wilson, the son of Jackie Wilson. We had Jay and the Americans. We had the Drifters. Also the Chiclets, which are like one of the original girl groups of the early 60s. And we also had Dennis Stefano, who's the lead singer of the Buckinghams. This is kind of a trip down memory lane for those of us of a certain age. You're too young to remember some of these guys. But the bottom line is we're very happy to have that. We thank Ron Tochi, Director of Veteran Services, Natasha Caputo, our Head of Film and Tourism, for their essential role in making this happen, and all of our operational people in Parks, Recreation, and Conservation. Peter Tartaglia particularly was front and center in all of this, and the administrative work at the top of the pyramid with Joan McDonald, Emily Saltzman, really came up with a wonderful program. We're happy we could do that. If you look back on the month, we had a big July 3rd event at Kensico Dam Plaza and a host of other events that Ken has been reporting on regularly, and so we're very happy that this is good use of our parks. Next up, for honoring our veterans and people that are important, on Friday, August 4th at noon, that's still about almost 2 weeks away, we'll have a special ceremony to rededicate plaques and trees at the 100-year memorial at the Westchester County Center. These plaques were originally set aside and dedicated for veterans from World War I and were put around the mature trees that ringed the parking lot and the area around the county center. When COVID came along, All of that had to be taken out in order to create the tented environment of 54 hospital bays inside that area established by the state of New York, along with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And so we lost the ability to have those plaques alongside trees. Now the trees have been replaced, and we're going to replace the plaques, and we're going to have a ceremony that's really going to honor all those people that made the ultimate sacrifice during World War I. And it's very important sometimes in our history. We have a good understanding of history that we can touch. Those of us who were alive during the Vietnam War, when we see Vietnam veterans a little older than I am, we know what sacrifice they made. My father's, our father's generation were involved in World War II or the Korean War, and we can touch that portion of it. To go back to World War I, my grandfather fought in World War I, but there's a little less direct connection, and they were honored in their day, all the way to what we're working on alongside of Revolutionary 250 and Connie Keogh and her team to go back and recognize what happened in these parts during the Revolutionary War, for which none of us have a direct correlation or remembrance. But it's very important that, that we do that. So Friday, August 4th at noon, we will be rededicating those World War I memorial plaques at the county center. Speaking of the county center, I also want to tip our hat to our team of individuals from the Office for People with Disability, Shari Asher, Martha Lopez from our internal economic development team who have different responsibilities. We had a terrific disabilities jobs fair that was held at the county center last week. Ken was there and I was there at various times, where we had different organizations that provide services to the disabled, and then also businesses that were looking to hire people who have various types of disabilities. We saw a tremendous turnout of individuals, and this is part of what economic development and job growth is. People will talk about what can we do to help people find jobs, but when we conduct these various job fairs, we've done all different kinds of them, MWBE, Target, things that have been done with a specific industry in mind, construction or whatever. This particular opportunity was one to reach a constituency that doesn't have a strong voice, but we want to be able to speak up for them, because those that can be gainfully employed have opportunities out there. They don't necessarily know how to find those opportunities, and the people who have the opportunities don't necessarily know how to find the individuals that could provide that service. So we're happy we were able to do that. We will probably do it again, and we might rotate it around the county. When we're here in White Plains, it's a central location. We have the county center as a great facility, but we know that to reach some people, we have to be in Yonkers, we have to be in Peekskill, we have to be in Mount Kisco and Port Chester and New Rochelle and all the corners of the counties as well in order to draw a crowd. But the Disabilities Job Fair was also a very wonderful program that we were happy to institute. So brief report. We've wrapped up the basic information, gave you an update on the person who was on the lam, so to speak, that has been captured from a couple of days ago. Gave an update on the migrant asylum seeker status, where we are with our parks, recreation, and we close as we opened, free buses. Make sure you get a chance to enjoy the Beeline bus system while you have the opportunity. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive, along with Deputy County Executive Ken Jenkins. Have a good and safe week. We'll be back again next week to give you an update on where we are with additional issues. Have a good day.